Welcome to Module 8, Site Preparation and Installation Methods. In this module, we will understand the basic steps needed to prepare and install a site with native seed mixes. You will learn best practices when communicating with vegetation management contractors, and you will recognize what to expect during site establishment and maintenance. Site Preparation and Installation, an overview. The goal of the Virginia Pollinator-Smart solar program is to create self-sustaining and high-quality pollinator landscapes that require minimal maintenance in the long term. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to site preparation and installation that achieves this goal, and as such, the module discusses the general concepts you might encounter during your site installation and maintenance. This module will not tell you how and what to do exactly for your specific site. If you take nothing else away from this module, understand that you should defer to a qualified professional to determine the specific methods required for your sites. There are many considerations that determine what types of site preparation are required prior to seed mix installation. What are the existing site conditions? The site suitability analysis addresses these considerations, including current soil conditions, determining the existing vegetation on site, and the history of past land use. What is the timing of the installation? What time of year will the seeds be installed? Some seed mixes can only be installed during certain planting windows, and how does that align with the construction schedule? Is the site a retrofit or new construction? Will the seed mix be installed before or after the piles? What will the final slopes and grade be on site? How significant is the grading? Do vegetation goals differ in different areas of the site? Are there different seed mixes being used in different areas? What is the array design? What is the lowest height of the panels? What is the inter-row spacing? Where is infrastructure located? For example, are cables above or below ground? All of these questions play into the level of effort and the methodology required to prepare the site and install the seed mix. Generally, the first step of site preparation is to use integrated vegetation management techniques to remove aggressive competitors, noxious weeds, and invasive species from the site. Depending on the type of existing vegetation on site, this could range from something as small as hand-pulling undesirable species to something as large as a repeated and prescribed herbicide campaign designed to completely remove all vegetation from the site. The next step is to incorporate soil amendments as necessary. Soil amendments are usually not needed when installing native species seed mixes unless the site has soil fertility issues in extreme ranges, such as a lack of critical nutrients, high soluble salts, heavy metals, extreme pHs, etc. If extreme conditions are present, then soil amendments or remediation techniques will be used to correct the site. After amendments are incorporated, compacted soil should be remediated by tilling. Lightly compacted soil should be tilled to 3 to 4 inches, while severely compacted soils may reach down to 6 to 8 inches. Different types of equipment may be used depending on the severity of compaction. For the safety of the vegetation management contractor and your infrastructure, take care to mark all buried cables and remind the workers to be mindful of above-ground infrastructure before work commences. On the opposite end of the spectrum, there is such a thing as overly friable soils. These soils are so easily crumbled that they create issues with good seed-to-soil contact and issues with seed placement. In these cases, the soil may need a light rolling to improve substrate condition. When it comes to procuring your seed mixes, do it as early as possible to ensure its availability when it comes time to plant. The amount of seed you will need is based on the size of the site and the method of installation. In most cases, a cover crop will also be needed to achieve erosion and sediment control goals and to suppress undesirable species. This is one of the reasons that it's important to understand the timing of when to install your mix. Different types of seed mixes have different recommended seeding times. It's not year-round. Will you be able to install your cover crop concurrent with the permanent seed mix, or will you need to install them separately? Seed mixes can be installed in a variety of ways. The primary methods are via seed drill, broadcast, and hydroseeding. Seed drills are the recommended application method for native seed mixes because it ensures good seed-to-soil contact and it's efficient. In most cases, the seed drill is calibrated to 1/4 inch depth. The drill also needs to be calibrated for the appropriate application rate of the seed mix. The broadcast method requires increased seeding rates because it's not as efficient. This method is primarily used in areas where seed drill is unable to reach. For example, if the spacing between arrays and other infrastructure, like fences, is too close together for the drill to fit, or if the drill is too tall to fit underneath the panels. A light rolling should be used to ensure good seed-to-soil contact. Hydroseeding is not recommended for native seed applications due to the potential of poor seed-to-soil contact. Finally, reseeding may be needed in areas where the original application was unsuccessful. Contingency plans and thresholds as to what would trigger the need to reseed the site should be defined on the front end in the vegetation management plan, if you choose to build a vegetation management plan. Reseeding is also done using broadcast or seed drill methods. In extreme cases, additional soil amendments or decompaction may be needed to encourage the seed mixes to grow. Let's move on to the best practices for vegetation management contractors. Defer to the qualified professional. Make sure you find a contractor that has experience installing native seed mixes in particular. Do they have the proper equipment and manpower? Specialized and modified equipment can be used when installing native seed mixes, and it's important to make sure your contractor has those capabilities. Also, make sure to start planning early. The faster you can engage a vegetation management contractor, the smoother the entire process will go. The vegetation management contractor is going to need to know the following information. Some of this may sound familiar as we've already gone over it in this module. The best thing you can do is to provide the following information up front. Where is the site? What is its size in acres? What is the size of the in-array area? What is the size of the out-of-array area? What is the name of the civil engineer being used on the project? And what is the name of any other qualified professionals you may be using to design the pollinator habitat? What is the goal criteria? For example, are you aiming for gold certified or just certified? Make sure to mention the Virginia Pollinator-Smart program specifically, and you can even attach the scorecard to help them. What is the panel height? What is the planned seed mix to be used? Are there multiple mixes being installed or just one? What is the site's land use history? Are the conditions wet or dry? Are there above ground utilities present? What is the row spacing? What are the results of any soil samples taken on site? What is the anticipated construction schedule? Many of these items are addressed during the site suitability analysis. You could even just provide the analysis document directly to the contractor. If you're having problems finding someone qualified to do the work, we can help you. If you have questions about installation methods, need to troubleshoot something, etc., please reach out to our team at pollinator.smart@dcr.virginia.gov. We're here to help. In this section, we will discuss what to expect after the site is installed by a vegetation management contractor, aka what to expect during the establishment and maintenance phase. It takes at least 3 years for pollinator habitat to fully establish. In year 1, expect to see a well-established cover crop across the site. You may only see a few pollinator support species flowering, but seedlings and first-year growth should be observed throughout the planted area for both forbs and grasses. Annual species will flower and set seed. In general, expect to mow vegetation to at least 10 inches at least twice and possibly 3 times during the year. The frequency in the panel zone is dependent on panel height and the types of vegetation used underneath the arrays. Spot spraying or mechanical removal of invasive, woody, and other undesirable species may occur at any time of the year. In year 2, the cover crop will be significantly diminished or even absent compared to year 1. There will be an increase in relative dominance of native species, and some forbs may be fully mature and flowering at this point. Native grasses in particular should be reproducing and approaching full stand density. Again, in general, vegetation will be mowed with the same frequency as year 1, to a height of at least 10 inches, at least twice and possible 3 times during the year. Spot spraying or mechanical removal of invasive woody and other undesirable species may occur at any time of the year. In the third year, full stand dominance of flowering native pollinator support species should be observed. Native grasses will be reproducing and at full stand density. Vegetation should only need to be mowed outside of the growing season to control woody vegetation. Of course, the frequency of maintenance in the panel zone is determined by panel height and the types of vegetation that is growing underneath the arrays. Spot spraying or mechanical removal of invasive woody and other undesirable species may occur at any time of the year. In subsequent years, full stand dominance of flowering native pollinator species and grasses should be observed, the species identities of which may undergo variation in relative dominance over time. Long-term maintenance should be conducted following integrated vegetation management principles, which will be covered in depth in Module 10. Revisiting the goals and objectives of this module, you should now understand the basic steps needed to prepare and install a site with a native seed mix. You've learned best practices for when communicating with a vegetation management contractor, and you've learned what to expect during site establishment and maintenance. As always, if you have any questions about this module, please reach out to us at the email address below, pollinator.smart@dcr.virginia.gov. See you in the next module.